Okay, so why don't you tell me about what happened that night?
Yeah,
While you were
sure,
out there?
sure. Well, I had really procrastinated for an assignment that I had to do, and that's I should have done it, but I procrastinated, and so I had to take a picture out in front of the statue by out in front of campus, and so I had caught a ride to the statue from the bus driver, the who does the loop, and so I'm out there and I'm taking a picture in front of the statue, and it's 12:30 at night or so, and I finally get the picture, and my phone starts working, and I start to walk back, and a couple, maybe three cars passed, and I'm walking back, and I'm in the road because I'm in flip flops, and my feet are cold and wet, and so a car's behind me, and I gesture to them, hoping that they might slow down so I could get a ride back to my van or back to my room, and then they passed like I would pass, and so I kept walking, and maybe 5-10 minutes had gone by, and I see a cop car speeding down the road, and I just remember thinking like, oh, something must be wrong, and I thought that it would be me, and they stop in front of me, and they throw their spotlight on, and two cops get out with their guns drawn, and they're like, put your hands up, put your hands up. And I'm standing there, and I don't quite know what to do, and so I put my hands up, and I have this brochure in my hand, and I was calm at the time because I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong, and so they searched me because somebody had called in and said that I had a gun, and so I'm on the ground, and they're searching me, and they obviously found that I didn't have a gun, and they asked me a couple questions like, why are you out here? What are you doing? And I explained to them, and I explained that I'm a student, and so they got in their car, and they drove past, and there were maybe 2 or 3 cop cars behind them, and one cop car passed and went with them, and the next 2 cop cars came, and they got out, and same deal. There weren't any guns this time, but they searched me and found that I had nothing, and they went through some questions, and they were very kind, and they did what they had to do, and so I'm getting searched, and they obviously found that I didn't have a gun and or a weapon of any type, and so they let me go.
Okay. What was going through your head when the police stopped you and searched you?
The first or the second time?
Let's start with the first time.
The first time I had no idea what to expect. I was relatively calm because I didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't feel guilty, although I looked guilty. I couldn't, at first I didn't quite know that they had guns because there was a bright light on me, and I realized they had guns, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is for real, this is serious. And so I was a little worried, but other than that, I wasn't too phased. I mean, I did what they asked, and I cooperated really well, and in the end they were very kind, and they did a good job.
And what about the second time?
The second time I was a little more nervous because it was less like quick, and they were more questioning me and trying to figure out what I was doing and what was happening, and there were other officers patrolling the area, trying to find this person who I guess was me in the end, but I was a little more worried the second time, actually, just because they were questioning me, and it's almost like when you're at the hospital, and I don't know, when I go to the hospital and they're like, date of birth, I'm like, I can't remember, I can't even focus on even though it's my own birthday, so I was a little nervous then the second time.
What do you mean when you say that you looked guilty?
Well, I did look guilty. Well, it was dark, and it was late, and I was awake. I was in pajamas, I was in dark pajamas, this coat right here, and this baseball hat, just the way it is right now. And I looked really guilty because it seemed like a bogus reason to be out wandering that late at night. But, I mean, I obviously I didn't do anything wrong, so.
Okay. And what kind of questions were they asking you when they stopped you?
The first group of cops wanted to really find out if I was a threat. So they were finding out who I am, what I'm doing, and kind of what's going on. The second guys, I don't know. They were asking me just general questions: name, age, date of birth, things like that. What I was doing, for what class I was doing this for, and trying to get a general view of, I guess, why I was out that late doing what I was doing.
Okay. And when did you see the emails of the suspicious person?
I think I saw the emails the next day. If I had read them a little earlier, I would have been like, oh my gosh, that was me. I think I read them the next day, and I chuckled a little bit because I wouldn't be the person you would assume would be a suspicious person. So it was comical to me, I guess. I think the next day, or much later that night, I guess.
And what did you do after you got back after the questioning everything? Were you going up to your roommates and saying, "You won't believe what just happened to me"?
Yeah. I actually went to a friend's room and I told her everything that happened, and that's probably the best version of the story because I was a little frazzled at that point. It was just crazy. It was so bizarre, and I was like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened to me. I got held at gunpoint. It was crazy.
So, I guess the question here is now, are you going to procrastinate in the future on your projects after something like this?
No, definitely not. I definitely learned my lesson. Well, I might procrastinate a little bit, but at least I won't procrastinate and wear dark clothes and go wandering alone at night in awkward areas.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
sitting down
Hey,
with me.
thank you.